When the grid goes down, the stores are looted, and society flips into survival mode, you'll quickly realize one brutal truth. It doesn't matter how tough you are or how many gadgets you own. Without the right essentials, you won't last long. Survival isn't about comfort, it's about staying alive when the world as you know it falls apart. And most people, they're betting their lives on hope instead of preparation. Here's the reality. When SHTF, the difference between making it through and becoming another statistic, comes down to just a handful of items. Not hundreds, not even dozens, just 9. These are the non-negotiables, the bare-bones preps that will keep you breathing, hydrated, fed, and protected when everything else collapses. Forget the fancy gear and luxury survival kits that companies push. This isn't about hype. This is about the 9 items that stand between you and disaster. Miss even one, and you could be in serious trouble. And wait until you hear about number 7. It's the one no prepper should ever overlook, yet it's missing from most people's survival stash. Let's get into it. Number 1, clean water and a portable filter. When SHTF, water becomes the ultimate line between life and death. You can go hungry for weeks and somehow push through, but without water, you're done in 3 days, flat. And here's the scary part. When the taps run dry and grocery stores are stripped bare, all those bottled water cases you thought you'd just grab later will be long gone. That's why having your own clean water solution isn't just smart, it's survival. This is where a portable water filter turns into a game changer. A Life Straw or Sawyer Mini is tiny enough to slip into your pocket, but powerful enough to turn a muddy ditch or questionable puddle into clean, drinkable water instantly. No boiling over a fire, no waiting hours for purification tablets to dissolve. Just sip and survive. In a crisis, that kind of speed and reliability is priceless. Now here's the thing most people get wrong. Water isn't just about storage, it's about access. Sure, stack up cases of bottled water if you've got the space, but don't stop there. Tuck a filter into your bug-out bag, glove compartment, even your kitchen drawer. They weigh almost nothing, last for hundreds, sometimes thousands of gallons, and instantly give you a safety net whether you're at home or forced to hit the road. And let's talk cost. A Life Straw goes for around $20, and a Sawyer Mini runs about $25. That's less than a Friday night pizza delivery, and yet this one item could literally be the reason you're still breathing when the world runs dry. But here's the catch. These prices are already creeping up. Just in the past year, survival gear like this has jumped nearly 10%, and when the next disaster hits, good luck even finding one on the shelf, let alone at a decent price. Water is the foundation of survival, no question. But here's the part people forget. You can sip clean water all day, but it won't mean a thing if your stomach is growling and your energy tank's out. And that's where the next item on this list comes in. One that's criminally underrated, dirt cheap if you buy it now, and about to get a lot more expensive. Number 2, long-lasting food supplies. When SHTF, food stops being about cravings and comfort, it's about raw survival. Calories are fuel, and without them, your body won't have the strength to make it through the chaos. The hard truth is, grocery store shelves empty out in a matter of hours once panic buying starts, and if you're late to the game, you're left with nothing but scraps. That's why stocking up on foods with serious shelf life isn't just a prepper trick. It's a survival mandate. Canned goods, rice, beans, and oats are the backbone here. Why? Because they last. We're talking years, not months. A 20-pound bag of rice can sit on your shelf for decades if you keep it sealed and dry. Cans of beans, soup, or tuna, 5 years easy, and they're ready to eat right out of the can if you don't have time to cook. Oats, they're lightweight, versatile, and pack a ton of energy for the cost of pennies per meal. These aren't glamorous foods, but when society grinds to a halt, they'll keep you alive while everyone else is standing in line for crumbs. Storage is where most people mess up. Don't just throw bags of rice in your pantry and call it a day. Keep everything sealed in airtight containers, away from moisture and pests, and stash extras in buckets or bins. You want food that you can forget about until you need it, and still trust it'll be good years later. The smart move is to rotate stock. Eat some, replace it, and keep the cycle going. That way your supplies never get old, and you're always ready. And here's the kicker. Food is still relatively cheap right now, but that window is closing fast. Rice is running about under $1 a pound, beans aren't much more, and oats are practically the cheapest calories you'll ever buy. But pay attention. Prices on staple foods like these have spiked by as much as 14% in the past year alone, and experts are warning that costs will only rise. That means every bag you stock today could literally be worth double next year. Now think about it. Water keeps you alive for 3 days, food keeps you alive for the long haul, but survival isn't just about eating and drinking. It's about keeping warm, cooking what you've got, and staying sane in the cold. And that's where the next item on this list steps in. An underrated tool that's as old as civilization itself and still just as critical when everything falls apart. Number 3, fire starter. Lighters, ferro rod, waterproof matches. If there's one thing that's been keeping humans alive since the dawn of time, it's fire. When SHTF, fire isn't just about feeling cozy, it's about survival on every level. Fire means heat when the cold sets in. It means light when the power grid fails. It means cooking that stockpile of rice and beans so they don't wreck your stomach raw. And maybe most importantly, it means sterilizing water and tools so you don't end up sick in the middle of chaos. One spark could literally be the line between comfort and freezing through the night. Here's the mistake most people make. They think one lighter in a junk drawer is enough. Wrong. Lighters run out of fuel, matches get soggy, and if you're banking everything on a single pack, you're setting yourself up to fail. That's why you need backups, plural. Stock up on cheap Bic lighters, stash waterproof matches in a sealed bag, and keep a ferro rod handy. The ferro rod is key because it doesn't run out. It can throw sparks thousands of times, even when wet. It's the kind of insurance policy you'll be thankful for when your last lighter flicks out. Storage is simple, but important. Keep your lighters sealed in plastic bags so they don't corrode, tuck your matches in waterproof containers, and know where you've stashed them. The trick is redundancy. One set in your bug-out bag, one in your car, and a few scattered around the house. You don't want to be hunting for your only box of matches in the middle of a blackout. The price here is almost laughable compared to the value. A Bic lighter costs about $1, a decent ferro rod runs around $15 to $20, and waterproof matches? You can get a whole pack for pocket change. Think about it. For less than the cost of a coffee run, you can literally buy the ability to cook, stay warm, and stay alive. But here's the warning. The cost of prepper staples like ferro rods and specialty matches has already started to creep up, especially after supply chain shocks. And once panic buying hits, these tiny cheap items are some of the first to vanish. So now you've got water, food, and fire covered. That's your foundation. But here's where things get serious, because none of that matters if you slice your hand, get an infection, or face a medical emergency with no doctor in sight. And that's why the next item on this list might be the one that separates survivors from casualties. Number 4, first aid kit. When disaster strikes, you can forget about dialing 911 or rushing to the ER. Hospitals will be overwhelmed, pharmacies stripped bare, and ambulances nowhere in sight. In a real SHTF scenario, you are the doctor, the nurse, and the first responder. That's why a proper first aid kit isn't optional. It's non-negotiable. A simple cut or infection that's nothing in normal times can turn deadly fast when there's no medical help coming. A good kit goes way beyond a box of Band-Aids. You need gauze pads, antiseptic wipes, medical tape, scissors, and tweezers at the very least. Add painkillers, fever reducers, allergy meds, and antibiotics if you can get them. Think about it. A bad toothache, an infected cut, or a high fever could take you out just as quickly as hunger or thirst. With the right supplies on hand, you can stop bleeding, fight off infection, and keep yourself or your family stable long enough to pull through. Storage is all about accessibility. Don't bury your kit under a pile of junk in the garage. Keep one in your home, one in your car, and a smaller version in your bug-out bag. And here's a pro tip. Actually learn how to use what's inside. A kit full of gear is useless if you don't know how to apply a tourniquet or clean a wound. Practice now when mistakes are free. Price-wise, you've got options. A basic pre-made kit runs about $25 to $50, and it'll cover minor injuries. But if you want a serious, well-rounded setup, expect to spend closer to $100 to $150 piecing it together yourself. It sounds like a lot until you realize that one ER visit for an infected cut can run you thousands. And here's the kicker. Prices on medical supplies have been creeping upward every year, with simple essentials like gauze and antiseptics jumping nearly 12% recently. In a world where shortages hit fast, expect costs to double once demand spikes. So far, you've got water, food, fire, and now medical backup. You're building a rock-solid survival foundation. But here's where things get interesting, because none of that matters if you don't have the single most versatile tool in the entire survival game. And trust me, item number 5 is the one that separates amateurs from true survivors. Number 5, multi-tool / survival knife. Here's the truth. Forget all the flashy gadgets survival companies try to sell you. When everything falls apart, one of the most valuable things you can have in your hand isn't some high-tech gizmo. It's a good knife or a reliable multi-tool. This is the backbone of survival. It cuts rope, opens cans, repairs gear, sharpens sticks, cleans fish, and even serves as self-defense if it comes down to it. In other words, this single tool gives you 100 different solutions when resources are scarce and time is short. The best part? It's portable. A solid fixed blade knife or a good multi-tool like a Leatherman can slip right onto your belt or into your pocket, ready to go whenever you need it. You don't have to be a knife guy to appreciate how critical it becomes when you need to cut through something in seconds or improvise with limited resources. In survival, versatility isn't just helpful, it's life-saving. Storage here is simple. Don't just buy one and toss it in a drawer. Keep one on you, one in your bug-out bag, and, if possible, a backup stashed in your car or toolbox. And here's the kicker. Cheap knockoffs won't cut it. Literally. A dull blade or flimsy multi-tool will fail you when you need it most. Invest in quality now, because when the world is burning, you won't get a second chance to upgrade. Price-wise, you're looking at around $40 to $70 for a solid survival knife and $80 to $120 for a quality multi-tool. Sounds like a lot? Think about it this way. You're basically buying a toolbox that fits in your pocket, and prices on steel and manufacturing have already been creeping up. Last year alone, the average price for a name brand multi-tool jumped nearly 15%, and experts say it'll only get worse as supply chains tighten. Quick gut check. If even one of these items so far has surprised you, just imagine how many more blind spots you don't know about. And the reality is, survival isn't about luck. It's about preparation. We've covered the basics, but now we're about to hit the items that separate amateurs from survivors. Because what happens when the temperature drops, the wind cuts through your clothes, and you've got nowhere safe to sleep? That's where item number 6 comes in, and it might be the only thing standing between you and hypothermia. Number 6, emergency shelter, tarp, tent, mylar blanket. When society crumbles, food shortages and blackouts aren't the only killers. The elements themselves can wipe you out faster than hunger ever could. Cold, wet, wind, and heat exposure claim lives every single year, even in normal times. Now picture that when the grid is down, there's no furnace kicking on, no AC humming, and no warm bed waiting for you. That's why emergency shelter isn't a luxury. It's a survival necessity. The beauty is, it doesn't take much. A simple tarp strung between trees can keep you dry through a storm. A lightweight tent can give you instant protection from wind and pests. And a mylar thermal blanket, that little sheet of foil-looking material, can literally stop hypothermia in its tracks by trapping your body heat when the temperature plunges. These aren't camping accessories, they're lifesavers. Storage couldn't be easier. Mylar blankets fold up to the size of your wallet, so you can stash one in your glove compartment, bug-out bag, or even your coat pocket without noticing the weight. A tarp or compact tent can roll up tight and sit in the trunk of your car until you need it. The key here is redundancy. Keep them in multiple spots so you're never caught without shelter when you need it most. And here's the kicker. This one's insanely affordable right now. Mylar blankets cost about $2 to $5 a piece. A decent tarp runs around $20 to $30, and even a compact survival tent can be had for under $50. That's pocket change compared to the value they deliver when you're staring down freezing temperatures or pouring rain. But don't ignore the trend. As material costs rise, even these cheap lifesavers have jumped in price, with basic tarps climbing nearly 18% in the past 2 years. In a panic, they'll vanish from store shelves faster than bottled water. So now, you've got a roof over your head and a way to keep warm. But here's the thing most people overlook. When the sun sets, total darkness brings its own dangers. And that's why item number 7 is next. A criminally underrated survival essential that's cheap today, but priceless when the lights go out. Number 7, light source, flashlight plus extra batteries. When the grid goes down and night falls, darkness turns into one of your biggest enemies. You don't realize how dangerous it is until you're fumbling blind, tripping over debris, or hearing things move around you that you can't see. Darkness breeds panic, invites predators, both human and animal, and makes even the simplest task nearly impossible. That's why a reliable flashlight or headlamp isn't just about convenience, it's about survival. Think about it. With a solid flashlight in your hand or a headlamp strapped to your forehead, you can move safely, cook after sundown, patch wounds in the middle of the night, or keep watch over your supplies. It's also a massive morale boost. That tiny beam of light gives you control over your environment when everything else feels out of your hands. And if you've ever been caught in a blackout with nothing but a dying phone screen to guide you, you already know how quickly light becomes priceless. But here's where most people screw up. They buy one flashlight, throw it in a junk drawer, and never think about it again. That won't cut it. Batteries die, bulbs burn out, and gear gets misplaced. You need redundancy. Keep a primary flashlight, a backup, and a headlamp for hands-free work. And don't just stock the lights, stock the fuel. Piles of AA or AAA batteries sealed in a plastic container will keep your gear running. Better yet, grab a solar charging flashlight or lantern as an extra layer of insurance. Now here's the best part. The cost is almost laughable. A decent flashlight runs $15 to $30, a rugged headlamp maybe $25 to $40, and batteries in bulk? Still dirt cheap if you buy them smart. But don't wait too long. In the last 2 years, battery prices have jumped by 11%, and during major blackouts, they vanish from store shelves in hours. Once the panic sets in, you won't be able to find them at any price. So now you can see in the dark, move safely, and keep morale up. But let's not kid ourselves. Light doesn't just scare off the night, it can also draw the wrong kind of attention. And when desperate people realize you've got supplies they don't, you'd better believe they'll come looking. That's why item number 8 is all about self-defense, and it's one you can't afford to overlook. Number 8, self-defense, firearm, pepper spray, or even a sturdy stick. Here's the part no one likes to talk about. When things collapse, it's not just the cold, hunger, or thirst you need to worry about. It's people. Desperation makes even ordinary folks dangerous, and when food and water run out, someone else's survival becomes a threat to yours. That's why self-defense isn't some optional prepper add-on. It's survival, plain and simple. Now let's be real. Not everyone is comfortable with firearms, and that's fine. But if you are, a reliable handgun, shotgun, or rifle instantly levels the playing field when you are facing someone who thinks they can just take what's yours. Firearms are the gold standard, but they're not the only line of defense. Pepper spray is legal in most places, dirt cheap, and buys you precious seconds to escape or regroup. And if you've got nothing else, even a sturdy stick or baseball bat can be the difference between being a victim or holding your ground. The point is, you need something. Because when the choice is defend or lose everything, hesitation isn't an option. Storage here is critical. Don't just toss your weapon under the bed and forget it. Keep firearms locked, but accessible. Keep pepper spray in easy reach. One in your pocket, one in your car, one in your bug-out bag. And if all you've got is a blunt weapon, keep it somewhere you can grab in seconds. Because when danger shows up, you won't get a polite warning first. Let's talk cost. Firearms are an investment. A decent handgun will set you back $400 to $600. A shotgun, maybe $300 to $500. And ammo prices, they're already rising fast, up nearly 20% last year alone. Pepper spray, on the other hand, is a steal at $10 to $20, and even a heavy-duty baton or stick is basically free if you know where to look. But don't make the mistake of thinking, I'll buy it later. Because once panic hits, gun stores are empty, ammo dries up, and even basic self-defense tools disappear overnight. By now, your survival kit has water, food, fire, medical supplies, tools, shelter, light, and protection. You're more prepared than 90% of people out there. But there's still one piece missing. The one that keeps you connected when the grid fails and helps you find your way when GPS is nothing but a dead screen. That's why item number 9 may be the most overlooked survival essential of all. Number 9, communication and navigation tools, radio plus compass / maps. When SHTF, your phone is going to betray you. Batteries die, cell towers go down, and GPS, that magic little blue dot you've been following your whole life, becomes nothing more than a blank screen. And that's when most people get lost, both literally and figuratively. But not you. Because if you've got the right tools, you'll still know where you are, where you're going, and what's happening out there while everyone else is stumbling blind. This is where communication and navigation gear turns into a lifeline. An emergency hand crank or solar radio doesn't just spit out static. It keeps you connected to weather alerts, government updates, and emergency broadcasts. That information could tell you whether to stay put or get moving before a disaster sweeps through. And when it comes to navigation, nothing beats the old-school reliability of maps and a compass. Unlike GPS, they don't fail, don't need charging, and don't care if the satellites go dark. With a paper map in your hand and a compass pointing true north, you're in control of your direction no matter what. Storage here is straightforward but strategic. Keep your radio in a dry place with easy access. One in your home, one in your bug-out bag. Stash maps in waterproof sleeves so they don't disintegrate the first time they get wet. And don't just throw a compass in a drawer. Actually learn how to use it. A $15 compass won't save your life if you've never practiced finding your bearings with it. Price-wise, this gear is still shockingly affordable. A decent emergency radio runs $25 to $50, a solid compass around $15 to $30, and maps? Practically free if you grab them now, but here's the warning. Demand for radio skyrockets every time there's a blackout or hurricane. During the last big grid failure, emergency radios sold out online in days, and resellers were flipping them for double or triple the price. Don't think you'll be the lucky one to snag one last minute, so there it is. With these 9 essentials, water, food, fire, medical tools, shelter, light, defense, and communication, you've built the backbone of survival. Forget luxury preps or gimmicks. These are the bare bones items that separate those who weather the storm from those who get swept away. The scary truth? Most people won't have even half of this list when disaster strikes. But if you start now, you'll be ahead of the curve, and maybe the difference between being a victim and being a survivor. If this list hit you like a punch to the gut, good, because that's exactly how survival feels when the world flips upside down. When SHTF, there are no do-overs, no second chances, and no time to go shopping. The shelves will be empty, the streets chaotic, and the unprepared, they'll be the ones begging, bartering, or outright stealing just to get by. But you know better now. These aren't luxuries or nice-to-haves. These are the 9 non-negotiables, the bare essentials that keep you alive when the system fails. Water, food, fire, medical tools, shelter, light, defense, and communication. Miss even one and the odds of survival tilt against you fast. And here's the brutal reality. Once disaster hits, you won't be able to buy a single one of them, no matter how much cash you've got. So don't wait. Don't think someday. Get these 9 items in your hands now while you still can. Because survival doesn't reward hesitation, it rewards preparation. And before you head out, let me ask you this. Out of these 9 essentials, which one are you locking down first? Drop it in the comments. Your answer might just spark an idea that saves someone else's life. Stay sharp, stay ready, and remember, when SHTF, luck won't keep you alive. Preparation will.